Bodrum, or Halicarnassus, as it was known in ancient times, may be one of the most touristic destinations for summer fun in Türkiye, but it also boasts a deep historical legacy.
I'm standing at the doorway of Halicarnassus. This is the Mindos Gate. It's the only gate that's left, but originally there were two. And these two gates were on opposite sides and were connected to each other by 7 kilometers of walls. These walls were very famous throughout time because they were so strong. Even Alexander the Great had a very difficult time passing them. The original gate had 3 towers and was built in the 4th century by King Mausoleus. But today, this is all that we have left. There's very big excavations going on to try to find out more, and hoping that in the near future, we'll learn much more about this fantastic city of Halicarnassus. Right now, I'm standing in the middle of the moat. Well, in past times, this would be impossible because the moat would be filled with water. This was an incredibly important part of the defense of the gate because the moats were actually only in front of the gates. This moat was only 56 meters long, it's 7 meters wide, and it's only 2.5 meters in depth, which kind of surprises me because I always want to ask myself, couldn't the people swim across? The armies could swim across, but it wasn't about the soldiers. It was more about the proximity to the door and being able to fire upon each other comfortably. So the moat was a very important defensive structure. This is the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. It's considered one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world. It was a mausoleum built for the King Mausoleus and his sister bride, Artemisia. The structure was built in 350 BC and was destroyed in consecutive earthquakes from the 12th century to the 15th century. Most of what you see here is just the remains of that structure. The main structure was used to build different buildings throughout Halicarnassus, most notably the Bodrum Castle. The mausoleum was a colossal structure. It was 48 meters in height. It had a pyramid-like rooftop with Artemisia II and Mausoleus in a chariot pulled by 4 horses into the sunset. This was a symbolism of eternity, showing that their life would be endless. The roof was actually supported on 36 columns, and underneath these columns was a frieze depicting the mythological battle between the Amazons and the Greeks. Now, this was a really interesting bit of information for me because I always assumed that the Amazons were from the Amazon, when in fact they were an Anatolian warrior tribe of women. We are at Bodrum Castle. Bodrum Castle is also known as the Castle of St. Peter. This castle was built in 1402 by the Knights of St. John. The Knights of St. John were actually charged with taking care of and defending the Holy Lands. This magnificent building dominates the harbor of Bodrum. Built on a rocky peninsula in between 2 harbors, it is quite a sight to see. This castle itself was actually built with the stones and the remains of one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world, the Mausoleum of Mausoleus.
The castle consists of 5 towers, the French, Spanish, German, Italian, and English towers. Each tower was built and manned by the country that it was named after, and each tower also has its own architectural style according to that of the country that built it.
The tower behind me is the British or the English Tower. It's also known as the Lion's Tower. The reason that it is called the Lion's Tower is because of a lion relief that came from the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. If you look carefully, you'll see it right above the door. The tower was actually constructed and completely finished in 1413 and is considered one of the most important towers of Bodrum Castle. This castle's construction began in 1402. By 1523, the Ottoman Empire had taken siege of it. It stayed for 400 years under Ottoman control, and after World War I, it was left abandoned for almost 40 years. In 1961, one of the greatest underwater archaeological museums in the world started to call Bodrum Castle its home. You can come to visit the Underwater Museum of Archaeology here in Bodrum and check out the castle at the same time.
The Bodrum Museum of Underwater Archaeology was established in the Bodrum Castle in 1964 and is considered one of the best underwater archaeological museums in the world. It is the home of one of the oldest shipwrecks in the world, the Uluburun, discovered by sponge divers in 1982 at about 10 meters in depth near the nose of the Uluburun Peninsula. There are several reconstructions and original wrecks inside the museum, but one of the most interesting is a glass-filled cargo of 35 tons. The broken glass, which was stowed in the hold of the ship, revealed that this trade ship was probably collecting glass to recycle as it sailed through the Aegean and Mediterranean coastlines. The Bodrum Castle is an important monument with multi-layered history, giving visitors a glimpse into the past civilizations and their way of living that existed here. Whether it be the castle and its deep history or the Underwater Archaeological Museum, make sure to visit Bodrum Castle and get 2 for 1 in history, only in Türkiye.